How's Twos doing this week?
Twos is good. Actually, it worked out well that you cut me out for the intro this time, actually, because I just squeaked in under the deadline for us to start at 9. And it
I
gave me
should
a
have put
chance
you
to
on,
actually
is
get
what
all
you're
this.
saying. I should have put you on. You would have been fumbling, is what you're saying.
Well, I would have been fumbling. I would have been trying to do like 3 different things at once, and you know that neither of us are any good at that.
It's true. It's true. Hey, Mashup 53, brought to us by our friend Vance Crowe, his legacy interviews. We're back onto the Vance Crowe Show.
Yes.
Give your family the opportunity to know their history. Trust Vance to get your loved one to tell their stories to help future generations know what it means to be a member of your family. You know, I was literally today talking to a friend of ours, Ken Rutherford, and I got talking about an uncle of his. Uncle, I think it's an uncle of his. Anyways, he's passed on now, and I'd sat down and at the time I wasn't thinking anything of it. He sat down and recorded an episode with him, and I was listening today. I'm like, I just get what Vance is talking about. You never know when it's going to come, and if you could have their wisdom passed down, wouldn't you want that? And that's what Vance Crowe is all up to. Professionally recorded video conversation aimed at capturing the essence of someone's life stories, memories, insights, and valuable life lessons.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that if you're going to have somebody do something like this is, everybody's got that one person in a family or extended family that really, is concerned about the genealogy and the history of the family as it branches out, or in the case of Manitoba, it's a flagpole. But what the thing about Vance is, like, I was just talking to him last week. I'm going to be on a show on Wednesday.
Ooh,
And
going
I
on
mean,
the Vance Crowe podcast.
Yeah, I was like,
Interesting.
did you just run out of interesting people to talk to?
Up to the big leagues, Mr. Twos. Hey?
Yeah, and it's just interesting how easy he is to talk, and you're just kind of like, okay, well, you know what? We're just gonna keep it. I don't know, kind of.
Wait, are you self-promoting right now? Is that what's happening here? Is that what you're
No,
doing?
no.
I feel like you're give me shit.
No. Just hear me out on this. I just found it really interesting how, at the end of it, you're just like, wow, like that just really, because I know him a little bit, but not super well. And then you just sit down and you just start talking and you just open right up.
I agree.
And so
I find it interesting that Twos doesn't like me
that.
busting his balls, but he loves to do it the other way. You know, folks, it's interesting, It's like he's taking
props
notes from Justin Trudeau or something. I don't know.
To Vance Crowe.
I know Vance Crowe's the man. Anyways,
yes, absolutely.
I agree.
I'm not. It's not going to be on my show.
Oh, so that's where we draw the line. If you're going on somebody else's show, if you're going on something else, we can talk about it. But
okay, are we going to talk about the S&P Presents now?
Sure. Can we do that?
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's do that, Shaun.
Here, let's start here. Earl Wally, like the movie. We learned this lesson. He texted me saying the proper pronunciation. Says, "Evening, boys. Evening, Wally."
What's
Dave,
up, Ontario?
Yeah, Dave Amiette says, "Let's go Oilers." Yes, indeed.
Hey, can
let's
we
go
block
Oilers.
people who say dumb things like that?
I'm going to allow them to say it all night long, and that's my thought process. Either way, hey, a couple things here before we get started. First is the S&P Presents in June 10th with Luongo and Craner in Lloydminster. If you're looking, that should be an interesting night. Twos, I believe, is going to be in the house. I think is making the trip to this lovely, bustling metropolis of Lloydminster.
I'm going to, not fly, but, head up there.
That's right. U.S. mandates ending May 11th. So, I mean, it's been a long-ass time coming, but they are coming to an end May 11th, Twos.
We don't care about COVID on this show.
I agree, but at the end of the day, there's still a ton of people waiting for that BS to go along. I thought I would show this. Oh, sorry. Whoops. Did I put that there? I meant, I thought I meant Twos. Here you go. There you go, Twos.
So we had a Vance ad, and now we've got Advance.
There you go. A nice pickup.
Yeah, I saw that. Actually, you know what? I'll do you one better. Let's see here. Let me show you this. Bring it up.
I'm adding. Here we go.
This is the video that we were talking about before with Marshawn Lynch buying an NHL team just so that he could do donuts with the Zamboni. This is who I want to see hoisting the cup.
Oh man. So if you missed a couple mashups ago, oh my god. Yeah, all right. Anyways, I'm gonna pull this back up quick. Me and Two's made a couple different predictions, and Vance now. Yeah, it's stuck in my head. Two's picked the Seattle Kraken. I made fun of him, and then I started watching him. I'm like, has Two's been watching this team? And then he goes, no, I just want Marshawn Lynch. Anyways, they dethrone or knock off, I guess, the Stanley Cup champs. I guess that's the first time in NHL history. A weird stat. It's like they're taking their steps from baseball. Anyways,
It's the first time that the Seattle Kraken have gotten to the second round. That's the weird stat.
The weird stat is it's the first time an expansion team has knocked off a Stanley Cup winner in a Game 7 or some damn thing like that. It doesn't matter. It's a baseball.
Yeah, that'd be like, this is the best ERA posted by a third baseman in the first 26 days
on a Tuesday night when it's cloudy.
Yeah.
Here, let's before we hop in, second round of playoffs. New Jersey just finished thumping the Rangers for rip. Who you got coming into who's the team you believe will make the semifinals out of the East and West? I'll give you just one choice out of each side. That way we don't have to go through all four. Who's Two's got?
Seattle.
You have Seattle making the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Okay.
And shoot, do we know who Toronto's playing yet?
Toronto and the New Jersey Devils.
Okay. Yeah. Then we're gonna go Devs.
Wow. Okay, folks.
I will be. Yeah.
You don't think Toronto can get by Florida?
I would vote liberal.
Sorry.
For Toronto.
What did you just ask? You just asked, do we know who Toronto's playing? That's what you said, right?
Yeah.
Toronto plays the Florida Panthers. Before I screw this all up, Toronto plays the Florida Panthers.
Okay.
New Jersey Devils play the Carolina Hurricanes. I'm giving you one series to pick who the winner is going to be in the. So you don't want to pick Toronto.
Let's go Florida, man.
You're going to take Florida.
Man.
Okay, Then I'm going to pick the other two series. I'm going to say New Jersey gets through against Carolina, and of course I'm going with my Edmonton Oilers. They're gonna face your Seattle Kraken. They're gonna mop the floor with that octopus. They're gonna just be like whoop. Anyways, okay.
Yeah.
Shall we begin? Would you like to get off NHL? I know you're not a big fan of talking that right now, and you don't like when people say go Oilers
Hey,
go.
You know what? The Flames haven't lost a single game in the playoffs this year, so suck on that. Okay.
Anyways, you did just fire Daryl Sutter, so you're looking for a coach now. So Calgary Flames.
Which, I mean, you got rid of the GM a week ago. Good call. Now actually give Daryl Sutter room to breathe.
Ooh, you wanted Daryl Sutter to stay?
Yes.
Interesting.
I have been saying for like 15 years that the problems are above the coach level.
Hot take. Twos want Sutter to stay.
The problems are above the coach level. You get because they keep building the same team. They keep building they just keep putting together the same non-working recipe. And that can't be all of the different coaches that they've had. It's got to be higher up than that.
Oh, I'm glad you're not on a sports show, Twos. You know, listening to you talk about sports is probably like most listeners trying to listen to me talk about politics. You know, it's just kind of like,
really?
Yeah.
Really? The Flames have been trying to build a franchise team around 1, 2, or 3 people every damn year since Iginla became good, which wasn't. It wasn't his first season, right? I mean, he was a slow starter, right? But yeah, ever since they're like, oh, you know what? Maybe it'll be Iginla and Kipper, and then they had Phaneuf for a little while, and it's just always been they're trying to build. Like there was a couple of years where Iginla scored practically every single goal. You had that one season where Kipper played 80 games.
Would you like to start? I don't know. And listening to you talk about the Calgary Flames who are out golfing or suntanning in Mexico right now, who knows? Who knows what they're doing? I tell you what they ain't doing. They ain't making it the second round. And that's too bad. I wish Winnipeg would have got through an all-Canadian Second round would have been fun, but who knows? Maybe we'll get an all-Canadian Stanley Cup final. Maple Leafs,
Most of the teams are
Oilers.
Canadian anyway, dude.
I know but you still want a Canadian market. Get out of that. I don't even want to get down to there's 19 Canadians. Like, we want a Canadian market. Okay, that's all I'm going to say here. We're wasting
I don't
people's
sound
time.
like that. You sound like that.
No, you sound like not least.
You
dirty,
sound like that.
Not least dirty secret. Okay, here we go.
Jesus Christ, let's get going already.
Yeah, there's a multitude of different articles here. First, Alberta Premier Daniel Smith is raising questions about opposition NDP leader Rachel Notley's husband as his role in the upcoming provincial election campaign. Notley's husband, Lou Arab, is a communication official for the Canadian Union of Public Employees and sits on the governing board of Notley's NDP. I feel like I've heard Tubes talk about this like 15 times. Anyways,
I'm just surprised that it's already coming, or it's finally coming up.
Well, it's finally coming out because they keep attacking Danielle Smith. The latest one is that she went to David Parker, the leader of Take Back Alberta, and they're trying to like get it in. Anyways, so they started attacking about her going to a wedding, so now she's firing back. Anyways, here's what she said. What the Premier would like to ask Miss Notley, who is married to a communications representative for COOP, is why is her husband's union spending massively on third-party attack ads to elect the NDP? How is it legal? Said the UCP statement. And then if you keep going to the next article, it said just last week, Coop, whenever we're talking, sent out an I don't know, Cupie, or is that what it is? Sent out an email from Arab's account supporting a minimum wage hike that came after Arab gave an interview to an AirG website advocating for an increase in the minimum wage. When the CBC called Cupie to ask about those optics, they got I don't know why Cupie sounds funny. Anyways, they got a phone call back instead from the Premier's office. Notley then told the media that Cupie had sent out the news release from her husband's account in error, and that Arab was moving to a less public role within the union. I'm going to
Which is why he's just got this generic description, despite the fact I was looking around, there was a place, I didn't get a chance to verify it, but it said that he's making over $300,000 a year.
Probably.
And you're like, okay, it's a less public title, but honestly, like because this is serious. Like when Notley was premier, hey, somebody asked him a question, and then the NDP government responded.
Well, so
there's no separation of church and state.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: like, just imagine this. Imagine your wife is running for office, and you've got some kind of a big public platform. You're gonna have to plug it like. We would have to plug it on the show every week, or you would be sleeping on the couch.
And we tease each other incessantly about it, at least on here, and we'd acknowledge it. But here, it's this little shadow game. This is what I liked. This is from the CBC too, which I found interesting because we've been crapping on the old CBC for a while. On Friday, CBC News left a message on his mobile phone requesting comment about a press release sent by Cupie earlier this week under his email account. Notley's press secretary, Cheryl Oates, returned the call.
Yes. Keep in mind, though, that this article is from 2015.
Ah, shit. Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just thought it was it's a really important point to make is that there's never really been a clear distinction. And like the unions and the NDP are this weird inbred, their family tree has no branches either, right? It's like Ottawa. Everything's all just creepily mixed in. And so, when you're talking to one, you're talking to the other.
So I was about to give CBC
one, you're dealing with the other.
I was about to give CBC give CBC a little
props.
tip of the cap, and we're talking about this being an 8-year-old article. Are you telling me that's the truth?
Okay, it's the background on this.
No, I completely understand, but now I have to draw back in. I can't give CBC all the credit anymore because it's an old article from 8 years ago. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Yep. But it's the background on what Danielle Smith was talking about. So, I mean, if you've got the NDP in charge, they're literally on both sides of the bargaining table when it comes to union negotiations, which seems to be a fairly relevant point in this current state of events in Canada.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch at this point, I don't know, how much are you watching the papers and the news cycle on like mainstream media and everything attacking Danielle Smith? I've read like 3 or 4 of them.
I mean,
I know how much it is. I'm just saying at this point, if like I don't know how you even watching it anymore. I've just like tuned it out. It's like it's awful.
well, I mean, we've got yeah. That's going to be issue number 8.
I know.
That's where
I
we're
know.
going.
All right. All
Yeah.
right. All
Okay.
right.
Well,
All right.
just let's cover this stuff in order.
But inflation puts the con in concert. Avenged Sevenfold frontman M Shadows says the band's upcoming tour will cost an extra $2 million compared to pre-COVID treks. With fans having to pick up the slack through inflated merch and ticket prices, some bands are finding it's difficult to tour at all, you think? Shadow tells Jackson podcast. It's completely different now that the land than the last time we toured. We toured 7 years ago, and it was one way. Now we've noticed that the crew costs more, the production costs more, buses cost more, ticket prices are going up. People aren't happy about it. Everything costs more, and you're dealing with a completely inflated situation where there's bands like Godsmack who just canceled South America based on not enough tickets sold because the prices are so high to get there. And then you get out there and you're like, okay, I'm going to go there for a month and make no money or lose money. And so you started to see a lot of bands cancel. Europe, South America, the States are already hard enough. I know that even our busing on this tour, I was thinking it was something like $2 million this time to get the buses, more than normal.
2 million more. And if you look up that tour, it's I think 35 or 36 stops. And some of them, there's not even going to be buses. Like I'm sure there's going to be transport buses, but they're not riding in buses for all of it because I think they do LA and New York back to back in there somewhere. So it's not like they're like they're going to be flying and their buses are going to be hauling the equipment, driving all night kind of thing, right? So just it's insane. Like when was the last time you looked at concert tickets for anything?
Well, we had this chat. How long ago was this?
About
6?
the Cure?
Yeah. What was that? How long ago was that?
But that was just the Ticketmaster surcharges. So totally different animal. And I mean, COVID hit Ticketmaster really hard, and it's been really hard for them to charge you to print online tickets. Jesus Christ! Remember when I went to Cocaine Bear and we talked about that? They charged me like $1.50 to print out 2 tickets on my phone. It was like a convenience fee. They charged me for not having to have them have somebody to ring me up in the movie theater. And because I got like a 50, it's supposed to be $1 a ticket, and I got 50 cents off because I've got scene points. And so they were charging $1 a ticket to not print the ticket. They charge you $1. Like, okay, so to do absolutely nothing, they charge you $1. It sounds like the unions. But this is insane. Like I was looking at Brantley Gilbert tickets, and he's opening for Nickelback. And so not only do you have to go to a Nickelback concert to see Brantley Gilbert, but also you've got to pay something like $222 for mid-level tickets.
Yeah, but you
that's
would
a
pay
pretty good price.
You would
that's
pay $222. You would, yeah.
Well, not so that I'm paying $500 for a night out.
Yeah, well, I don't know. So I look at the.
Would you pay $500 to go to a concert?
No, I don't pay $500 to do half the. You know who I'm paying $500 to go see? Actually, I'll scratch that. I'm paying $500 to go see Jordan Peterson, for 2 tickets, to sit like 4 rows up, 5 rows up, whatever it is. That's what I'm paying my money to go see.
Yeah, 4th row, not like up in the fucking nosebleeds.
Fair.
It's insane. Like concerts, you just look at them and you're like, if someone's doing a show bigger than the Palomino, you're gonna pass.
Oh God, Shaun's all over the place tonight. Union grinding people's gears. Dear God, this is a saga and a half. Okay, let's. Do you want to start with the tweets, or do you want me to actually read? I'll read what's going on. What the hell?
Just hit some bullet points of what's interesting, because there's way too much stuff to cover.
As federal public servants begin blocking roads and ports in a bid to get government's attention, a new survey is showing that most Canadians think government workers in general are paid just fine. A new Angus Reid survey found that, shocking, 64% of Canadians either think government workers are overpaid, that's 28%, or fairly compensated, that's another 36%.
For a total of
64, isn't it? 64%. I said that. What are you talking about?
Okay, but how many people altogether think they're overpaid or don't think they're overpaid?
17% said they
Don't think
didn't.
they're overpaid. 17% of Canadians do not think the public sector is overpaid. What percentage of the workforce in Canada is in the public sector?
Is it 17%?
21.8%, Shaun. So that means that roughly a quarter of the people protesting already think they're overpaid, and they're just doing it because they know it's going to fucking work.
Here, this is Andrew Coyne. He says, I thought we agreed that using physical force to make a point, blocking roads or railways or access to buildings was out of bounds. Yet it continues. It wasn't right when anti-vax loons did it in Ottawa, and it's not right for respectable civil servants to be doing it now. And then here's some bullet points. Shutting down access to Port of St. John's, a part of critical transportation infrastructure of Canada, blocking access to the Canadian Forces base in Montreal, picketing the Ambrose Torquay border crossing in Saskatchewan on the Canada-U.S. border, shutting down the Sinclair Centre in Vancouver with no access to Service Canada, passport offices and other buildings, closing the Burlington Canal Lift Bridge, which provides access to the thousands of vehicles and pedestrians entering Hamilton Harbor.
What did they do? Get like 3 of them to stand on it?
Here's when he talks about peaceful, watch the lady on the right. Walks up, gives the car a little soft boot. So there's that going on. And then this one,
they've got to self-report. The union members that are striking have to self-report that they're striking and not getting their regular wage.
Correct.
So the onus is on the striking people to tell the Canadian government that they are on the picket lines and therefore need to have reduced wages.
Yeah, the tweet.
How many of them do you think do that?
Oh, I don't know, 10. Like, honestly, how many?
That's optimistic, I bet.
It literally says workers who participate in the strike will most likely have their pay clawed back after the strike, but it won't be an automatic clawback. Employees who will have to submit an unpaid leave request through the federal government's good old Phoenix pay system to process the pay deduction.
An unpaid leave request. How perfectly Ottawa is this? You need to fill out a form to not get paid. That's not even the coup de grace in all of this, Shaun. That's not even the best part of any of this stuff. It's the second best part.
Are we talking about the honking?
Best part, that's the best. The second best part is when you've got all of these people gathering in Parliament Hill, just shoulder to shoulder, to protest how unsafe it is for them to go back to work in the age of coronavirus, and they need to be safely at home, social distancing, and they will stand shoulder to shoulder protesting and chanting and yelling and just all of that speaking moistly into the air.
Speak moistly
until their demands are met that they can safely be working from home. The best part, though, is the honking.
Union leaders are criticizing what they view as a shocking double standard after Ottawa police ticketed a striking public servant for honking in a picketing line, and city bylaw officers have reportedly fined another picketer for an unauthorized hot dog stand outside the Prime Minister's house. You can't do that.
How crazy is it that the same people are in the exact same physical location a year and a bit later doing the exact same thing that they said give them post-traumatic stress disorder? Like, is there actually any honking going on? Or are they just hearing the choppers in the background in the flashbacks? Right? Like, do they think that there's a bunch of people cheering them on? Or are they just remembering the bouncy castles with all this post-traumatic stress disorder that they experienced from the convoy? But no, they're going to go back and do the exact same thing. They're going to close up critical infrastructure. And they're going to honk and honk and honk until they get tickets. But it's okay when they do it, because they're fat cat lazy pieces of shit who don't answer to anybody.
Oh man. How about this lovely piece of work? Wolverine becomes Invisible Man.
We like to say people kind, not necessarily mankind. It's more inclusive.
There we go. Exactly. Yes, thank you.
And the budget will balance itself. Man, you are
You were
one
one
pathetic
pathetic
loser.
loser.
No offense.
No offense.
So Wolverine becomes invisible, man. This is just, anyways. The Prime Minister was in the Big Apple mugging for pictures with Wolverine actor Hugh Jackman at an event in support of the Global Citizen Now initiative to empower women, where Canada committed new funds to support women's rights organizations. He also spoke to the Venerable Council of Foreign Relations to highlight Canada's role as a reliable and responsible partner of the United States. He told the council that the world is expecting a moment of uncertainty like we haven't seen in our lifetimes, with authoritarianism on the rise and new threats emerging to weaken democracy. If we don't step up, other forces will step in, twos. That's a direct fucking quote. I kid you not.
How evil are they? But this isn't. So Trudeau goes on this trip to New York where he does a bunch of bullshit glad handing and poses for a whole bunch of pictures, including one with Hugh Jackman, who you probably remember from some of the X-Men movies. And anyway, so Hugh Jackman posted on Twitter. And then he gets all this pushback. And then he realizes, oh,
Holy shit, that was pretty stupid of me.
Maybe people hate this fucking guy. And so he erases the pictures. He pulled the pictures off Twitter. He's like, I don't even want to be part of this. I can't even this guy is so toxic that I don't even want my picture taken with him.
Like, is that not the greatest, funniest thing you've ever heard, right? Like, he literally gets a picture taken with Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman's, oh, all right. And then he just gets torn to shreds and he pulls it all down. He's like, oh, fuck this.
Yeah.
I'm
well,
out of
and
here.
you think about it, like this is a big deal for Justin Trudeau. This is a guy who once had a photographer take a picture of a photographer taking pictures of Justin Trudeau while he was autographing pictures of himself. This guy has been all fluff and no substance his entire fucking life. He just lives for having vapid pictures with famous people that he can just piggyback off the goodwill of. And then Hugh Jackman was like, ooh, I don't know if my healing factor can recover from this.
The one thing that takes down Wolverine, Justin Trudeau.
Yeah. This is like, it was basically just like episode 75 of the Wolverine comic where Magneto pulled his adamantium skeleton out of him.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Liberals being an expert to speak about MAID.
Oh, that might have been a typo on my part. It's supposed to say bring out an expert.
Oh, well, liberals bring out an expert to speak about MAID. There, I'll adjust on the fly. And here we go. Hillary Clinton, former First Lady of the United States, and the country's 67th Secretary of State, will speak in the 2023 Liberal National Convention in Ottawa, also known as Lib 2023. On Friday, May 5th, Hillary Rodham Clinton has a lifetime of experience in American politics and public service and has dedicated her career to promoting human rights around the globe, growing a strong middle class and delivering economic growth that works for everyone, Liberal Party of Canada National Director Azam Ismail said in a bulletin. Clinton will be
She doesn't have a whole career of it. She did one, maybe 2 terms as a senator and 1 term as Secretary of State. Like, that's it. And then she was also president of the United States silver medalist one year. She had that.
Isn't this something you just pay your hard-earned dollars to go see?
I would not pay $500 for a night out
Hillary
on the town.
Clinton and Christy Freeland. I tell you, that night will be fantastic, dudes.
I'm not telling you that Hillary Clinton is a bad person, but if 40-odd people would rather kill themselves than hang out with you, maybe you're kind of an asshole.
Maybe we should poll the audience, get crowdfunded, go to this, and sit there and just like have a grand old time. Ask some questions, see what Christy Freeland has to say.
Okay, here's the thing, though. We would probably kill ourselves afterwards, and then there'd be this whole conspiracy theory about how she had us all done in. Man. Really, she didn't. She did not pull the trigger. She did not tie the noose. But we would just rather do that than listen to another minute of those fucking assholes telling each other how awesome they are.
Oh, I don't know why it does that. Why do you got to do that to me? There we go. A little gun sound for everybody.
You kind of went off half-cocked there.
Twos is on it tonight. He shows up late, folks.
I showed up exactly on time, which
I
is
don't know
late
about
for
that.
me. But
I
yeah,
don't know about that. It was tight. It was tight. I like this. George hopping in as a B-Day gift. Here's a, you know what he's talking about, Twos?
birthdays.
Yeah, whose birthday is it tomorrow?
Is it mine?
It's funny. The listeners know that have been texting me already. It's Shaun's birthday tomorrow. I thought Twos maybe would have known, but hey, that's okay, folks. Hey, I won't expect.
It's okay.
Too much.
We
Just
covered
cry
this last year, and I forgot then too.
Just cry myself to sleep tonight. It'll be okay. Hillary Clinton, the perfect spokesperson for assisted deaths.
Yep.
Oh, we're having fun tonight. Oilers, game 1, Wednesday. Hey, how we doing? C11 is here. We might not even be able to talk about any of this anymore. Who knows? A new federal law will require digital platforms such as Netflix, YouTube, TikTok to contribute and promote Canadian content. The Liberals' Online Streaming Act passed its final vote in the Senate Thursday and received royal assent. The bill updates the Broadcasting Act to bring online streaming platforms under the regulatory authority of the Canadian Radio, Television, and Telecommunications Commission. It also sets steep penalties for digital platforms that don't make Canadian content available to their users in Canada. And a spokesperson for TikTok said in an email statement that without the legislative clarity they asked for, digital-first creators are now left to simply hope that the government keeps its promise to not regulate user-generated content.
So it's bullshit. They're saying that, okay, JJ McCullough had a great point to make. He was like, what if you just apply this to the jean companies? Like, people who just buy clothes that are from the United States. Do you require Levi's to just have a certain amount of zippers and buttons made in Canada? This is the only thing it applies to. And it's a hollow argument. And I'm really surprised that places like Netflix didn't push back more on this. Because if you just look up Canadian Netflix shows, there's literally, you've got FUBAR's on Netflix, but I mean, they didn't really have anything to do with that. But like Room, Blood Quantum, you go through all these things, Blown Away. They took over Trailer Park Boys. They got like an extra 10 seasons and a half dozen movies of Trailer Park Boys that are just under Netflix.
Well, I thought
they filmed the show North of Calgary a little while ago. You've got so many of these shows that have a bunch of production in Canada. The dogs with they talk and there's the fire truck and the kid who goes around getting them into saving people.
Oh God.
Paw Patrol.
Oh my goodness, how did I not know that? It's like I couldn't even.
Paw Patrol. It's either a whole bunch or totally made in Canada.
I only watch that show like every single day.
Anyways. And it's probably one of the most popular shows on Netflix because it's not like it. Every episode of it gets watched like at least a dozen times. So yeah, I mean, you've got a ton of Canadian content already.
You're right
there.
with Netflix. I could swear, a few years ago, probably even longer than that, Netflix was giving so much money back to Canadian content creators to have Canadian shows.
They spent like $100 million on a studio in Toronto or some other backwater place, right? They did a bunch in Calgary. They like I said, they just filmed a show just north of Calgary last summer. There's been all of this stuff, and you've got like all the effects studios in Montreal, and there's a ton of money being spent on entertainment, video entertainment in Canada. I mean, look at how many shows get filmed in Vancouver, right? Stuff like that. The X Mansion, call back to Hugh Jackman. The X Mansion is on Vancouver Island. So, and that show was the mansion in Arrow. It was in Smallville. It's the X Mansion. It's been in, so it even had a show. It showed up in Daredevil for like 5 seconds. It's been in so many movies, and that's in Canada. And so you got all this stuff that happens in Canada, and they're like, oh, well, we need to have stuff happen in Canada. And the easy pushback from places like Netflix would have been, well, at what point are you going to tell us that this is enough. Like, here's how much money we've spent in Canada. How much do you think is enough? Why don't you give us a dollar amount if you think that we're not pulling our own weight already? Why do you need to put a law in place for something that's already happening? Like, it's illegal to not breathe.
I just feel maybe I'm wrong on this, but like I feel like at the end of the day, the end user is going to get screwed because, like, think of a Canadian radio station. I got nothing against any of them, but growing up, like some of the best songs you never heard or you heard only sporadically. Why? Because they had to worry about so much Canadian content. It's like, well, it sounds great in theory, but like I mean, if the best artists that you want to listen to are coming from elsewhere.
Yep.
It's like, then, we search it out anyways. We find how to get there. We always find a way around this. And it ends up happening like, where do your talent go? They go where they need to get to become in that conversation. And normally it doesn't happen through a government stepping in and saying, you're going to listen to this and you're going to like it because it's Canadian. It's like.
That's what they did with Jan Arden. Can you honestly look me in the eye right now, Shaun, and tell me that anybody would have any idea that Jan Arden was a musician at any point in her life if it wasn't for mandated Canadian content?
I'm trying to think of like who's a giant, like probably the Tragically Hip. Tragically Hip never made it big in the States, but I don't think they did. Maybe they did, but I don't remember ever seeing them go to and
Colin James was huge in Canada, and yeah, he was on like he's in the Big Lebowski soundtrack, and he's in some other movie soundtracks and stuff like that, but he never took off in the States. Right? Bands like Big Sugar. Big Sugar was huge.
Big Sugar
in
was
Canada.
fucking huge. Big Sugar
but
was
nobody
awesome.
nobody in the States even knows who they are.
Yeah, but
like Il Scarlet, you had that roofer guy who was playing in bands and stuff, and he said he opened for Il Scarlet, and they were a great band, and they didn't really
big time. Anyways, yes.
Yeah, they didn't really make it out west as much as they should have, but they didn't make it into the States at all.
Yeah. Anyways, we can go on and on and on about this. C11 is
more
here.
Interesting than the Oilers.
I don't know. Is it? You'd have to be high to cheer for the Oilers. I'm happy the Oilers made it into a headline, but of course, Twos is putting it on here. Rap legend and Southern California native Snoop Dogg is letting everyone know which team is supporting in the playoffs. Of course, that's an image of him donning an Edmonton Oilers jersey.
Here's the thing: is Snoop Dogg, he's got a very well-established appreciation for the bitches. Give me a buzzer. We already spent enough time on the Oilers. Give me a buzzer. We'll move on to the next one.
Let's fucking go, baby!
You know what, Shaun? That's great. You're totally doing the Oilers thing right there. This is the Oilers thing. Well done. Well done.
You know what the Flames? We're gonna fire the coach. We're gonna fire the GM. We're firing everybody. Huberdeau sucks. Cadre's a piece of junk. Anything else the Flames want to say? No.
Shaun,
the Oilers second round. Vegas. How about we do the mashup from Vegas Wednesday night? Eh? Woo. Little plane trip. Go down and watch the first game.
I mean, now that we're allowed to go,
may I watch the first game?
We'll see. I'm gonna say probably not, but it's a great idea. But yeah, I mean, get in your gloating while you can. You're probably 4 or 5 games away from getting less periods than Dylan Mulvaney.
How awful is this going to be, folks, for Twos when the Oilers are going to the Western Conference Finals and facing the Seattle Kraken?
Less periods than Dylan Mulvaney.
Oh man, I'm.
Did you get that?
So looking, yeah, I caught what you're saying.
Because
I get you clever. I get it.
You're
wrong.
Dude.
The Oilers,
so he doesn't
in a week's time,
Shaun,
I'm going to be sitting here rubbing it even further into your face.
Another name for menstruation.
I'm going to be rubbing it further into your face.
The thirds of a hockey game.
Just saying. All the people you hate want to live
flowing, Shaun. You're holding up the whole damn show.
I know. I'm having fun with it. Sutter still. I apologize to anyone who's an Edmonton Oilers fan. I do, but Two's being a Flames fan. This is just perfect. Dave says Sutter's still costing them $8 million to save Kadri's feelings. Anyways, all the people you hate want to live in a have-notly province. Where do I start with this? Former Calgary Mayor Naheed Nenshi, on day one, for example, this is just one of the things of like 15 things he just tore her on, and one of them that I just was like,
Did
okay,
he really tear her? Is he grasping?
He's grasping, but one of the ones he said is on day one, for example, she called unvaccinated people the most discriminated group that she's witnessed in her lifetime. She and then the other one was and he went on to say how everyone else has been more discriminated against than the unvaccinated. And then Premier Daniel Smith says the hardline Republican governors of Florida and South Dakota are models for making Alberta's little bastion of freedom. Which I would take Kristi Noem or
well,
DeSantis. Hey, that's just me. Hey, what do I know?
Noem is so hot. just a smart, dark-haired woman who just wants people to have personal freedom and speaks well to current events. And she's wonderful, Shaun. I'd love to show her my YouTube thumbnail face.
Anyways, there's just a lot. There was articles about how she's went to David Parker's wedding, how she's siding with her. She's basically a hot tire fire, and how she's going down and everything else. And yes,
it's this crazy misalignment of values. See, people on the left want whoever's in charge to say all the right things and believe all the right things. And people on the right want somebody who's in charge that's just not going to fuck everything up.
I don't even think you have to do left and right. I think there's people on the left, and then there's like people like center left and right who just don't want to be fucked around with. Just leave me alone.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's it. Just you don't.
Can you just hold on to the ship of Alberta and just steer it straight? For the love of God, just steer it straight, and we're fine. We're literally fine. No, we got to go crashing into every possible iceberg, and if there isn't an iceberg, we're gonna plow it straight headlong into the land because that's whatever they're after they want to do, and it just makes no sense. It's like we can literally just steer it into the ocean blue and go off and enjoy the sunset. No.
But yeah, so you've got Nenshi speaking out against them. We had John Chrétien a few weeks ago. Kim Campbell was talking about her on Twitter because, Kim Campbell's just a model politician. She was prime minister for less time than the Oilers are going to spend in the playoffs this year. And then Carrie Tate, who's, Globe and Mail, a little bit iffy. And then, so there's just been like this outpouring. I mean, Jody Gondek's been giving her flack about a bunch of stuff. And it's all these people, all the people that you don't like as politicians who you think are just more worried about looking right than actually doing well in terms of governance, that are doing it for all the wrong reasons and going way overboard with it. They're the ones who all want Danielle Smith to lose. Which is interesting. Like if she just ran on that, if she's like, well, I mean, I'm not going to tell you who's the better person to vote for, but Nenshi wants me to lose. She could probably just on that alone, boom, half dozen seats.
Well, and here's some of the tweets. Here's some of the tweets you're talking about. This is the Decibel, aka the Globes podcast. On Monday, we'll release an episode on Take Back Alberta, David Parker. If you listen to the show, you've already heard directly from David Parker, and they are, after him about a whole bunch of different things. And
none of it specific, none of it relevant, none of it actually bad.
He's literally and I mean.
We've talked about this before, right?
Yeah, he's literally going around to grassroots Albertans and telling them how to get involved in the election. Yeah, you want to see change? What is his big thing? It's not a spectator sport. You have to become involved, right? So he goes, Oiler fans, Calgary Flames fans, you want to sit and watch. He goes, that's not the way the politics works, and that's what he's going around talking to all these different people about, and they are motivated. And they're all voters, and they are angry at the way the last 3 years. And can anyone blame them? No. And so then you get all these people tying Danielle Smith to David Parker and going, the world's falling apart because we're being led by a madman controlling this woman that doesn't have her handle on the, their hands on the reins. And you're like, are you people insane? Like, this is why you don't watch mainstream media. Here's the other one. Premier Smith touts U.S. governors as role models for Alberta, and then Kim Campbell, like you said serious wingnut alert. And it's like,
they're going to bring out Sheila Copps here in a couple weeks. They're going to have they got Thomas Lukazik. He's vocally supporting the NDP. I mean, the guy whose main claim to fame was that he wasted $16,000 on a phone bill, right? Which is perfect. Like, and then he was trying to say, "Oh, people are surprised that I'm supporting the NDP." No, you're a financially incompetent buffoon. You don't give a shit about taxpayer dollars. You should be running for the NDP.
Hope they don't shit on you, Bubbles.
Shit on me? Who?
Shithawks. Big, dirty shithawks.
Shithawks.
Don't go to hospitals if you're sick. I wish I could make this tweet up, but here we're going to do it anyways. BC's Children's Hospital sent out a tweet. Not feeling great? Your appointment can wait. If you or your child are coming to one of our clinics but are feeling sick, please call and rebook your appointment from when you are well. Thanks for helping keep our patients and staff safe and healthy.
Yeah. I mean, this would be like if a mechanic said, don't
Car's
come
broke?
in if you need an oil change.
Car's broke? Don't come in.
Yeah. We only work on cars in perfect condition.
What are I supposed to even say to this tweet? I read it. I'm like,
yeah, I mean, there's not really anywhere to go with it. It's just that, I mean, these are the same people who are striking right now and want more money. Somebody who wrote this tweet is hoping to get more money in a big raise from the government.
Tough month for the queen of beers. Here you go. A second Bud Light marketing executive was placed on leave as the beer brand's sales continue to suffer, and Dylan Mulvaney controversy in its partnership with the transgender influencer. Daniel Blake, who oversees marketing for Anheuser-Busch mainstream brands, stepped back from his role on Sunday, the Wall Street Journal reported. 2 days earlier, the executive behind the Mulvaney ad campaign, Alyssa Hennerscheid, had taken leave of absence. Given the circumstances, Alyssa has decided to take a leave of absence, which we support. Anheuser-Busch spokeswoman told the paper. Daniel has also decided to take a leave of absence. This comes as Bud Light sales continue to plummet, with the latest data showing a 17% drop during the week ended at April 15th, according to Nielsen IQ and a bump Williams Consulting. The week before, sales dropped 6% in dollars and 11% in volume.
Okay, so I went to my neighborhood liquor store a few days ago, picked up a couple wobbly pops, and then I was thinking about it on the way out, and I went back in and I asked them. And I was like, did you guys see a drop in sales in Bud Light in the past little bit? And the manager, she was like, oh, yeah. I'm like, what, like 25%? And she's nodding, and I'm like more than 30%? Like 50%? And she's like, way more. And I said, then way more than 50%? She said, yep. So, I mean, that's just, small town redneck liquor store. But know your target demographic, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been the talk of it. I still play Sununa hockey and things like that, and it's still the conversation, the topic in there. It's the butt of jokes right now. I don't know. Like, I don't know when you're going to be safe to ever walk back into a hockey dressing room with Bud Light, to be honest.
The Oilers dressing room.
The Calgary Flames probably had it sent to them, as they're golfing.
You're literally taking the exact same joke that I just made.
Sure, and I'm just redirecting because you guys suck and we're in the second round. I don't know what to tell you here, Toos. You can come at me with this weak sauce you got, but at the end of the day, the Flames are out. They're fighting
like
everybody.
Bud Light?
Yeah, the Flames are just, they could probably learn a couple things from Dylan Mulvaney.
You're grasping at straws, and you seem like the kind of person who would drink your beer with one.
Housewife speaks to the injustices caused by the Liberals. We were talking about Sophie Trudeau, who was given us a glimpse. I mean, I'm wondering who's watching this. Somewhere, somebody's all over the Trudeaus. Anyways,
No, they aren't. They keep trying to make Sophie Trudeau into Michelle Obama, and it doesn't work because
of the Trudeaus, and they suck the life out
because
of.
she's just such a phony, pretentious a-hole. Like, you just look at her, and she's like if a Kardashian was even less deserving of the wealth and fame, that's Sophie Trudeau.
Well, all right, I'll read part of it here. Sophie Trudeau has given us a glimpse into their temporary home of the Prime Minister, telling social media influencers that her family has struggles like other Canadians, but she tries to make a safe place for the kids that includes a cuddle space. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his family live in Rideau Cottage on number 1 Sussex Drive in Ottawa, on the grounds of Rideau Hall. The nearby traditional prime ministerial residence of 24 Sussex has fallen into disrepair.
It's full of rats, apparently.
The container is historical, but the content is human. It's us, she explained. Sometimes when people say it's so unique, yes, of course, but we're just a family, and we're just trying to live our lives.
It just must be so terrible to live in some 150-year-old mansion that we paid for, and we pay for the upkeep for,
and
we
pay
provide
$10,000
round-the-clock security, where Trudeau can't even walk down the street without having like 8 armed guards around him. But Sophie really tries to make everybody feel safe, as if the 20 people with sniper rifles and machine guns and whatever else surrounding them to keep intruders out of the way aren't doing already. Honestly, I wish that I had been in Ottawa earlier on in Trudeau's career, because you're like, oh, you're at 1 Sussex Drive, and then you just find dog shit in a paper bag. You'd light it on fire and ring the doorbell.
I'm sure she means her children. She tries to make the children feel safe, I'm sure. And I don't want to bring children into it, other than not the children's side of it. It's just that at this point, it just feels like there's an election on the rise, and they're trying to find any which way to make Trudeau seem like less of a douchebag. And I'm sorry.
Can you pull up that picture
of Sophia?
From the article. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I can.
Okay. Look at this and just ask yourself, when have you seen a picture of Sophie Trudeau looking half as interested in Justin in the past 8 years, I would say? I mean, there was that one from a couple years ago where she just like friend zone kissed him, and now she's just giving him the whole doughy, the let's go eyes. Come on. Like this is a side of Trudeau that I'm sure Justin hasn't seen in a long time, and none of us have seen either. This is an absolute puff piece, and it's bullshit, and we pay for it.
We certainly do. Okay, let's get into a little bit of happy news. That is, I like this story this week. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I watched the video and everything. Here it is. Pen pals meet for the first time. Lamar Johnson and Guinea Scrappin struck up a fast friendship and corresponded constantly for decades while Johnson was in prison, serving time for a murder he didn't commit. When he was freed, they finally met for the first time. In 1995, Johnson was convicted of fatally shooting a man and received a life sentence. A couple years later, a minister of Scrappin's church handed her a letter. It was from Johnson, addressed to anyone who would write back. The two strangers struck up a fast friendship and corresponded constantly over the next 2.5 decades. Johnson always claimed he did not commit the murder, and 28 years later, his conviction was overturned. On February 14, 2023, Johnson was released from prison at 49 years old, and a few weeks later, he met Scrappin for the first time. And so she's 80 years old now, and pretty. I'll bring up the picture here. A pretty cool. Just a pretty cool story, right?
95, and now he's 49. So this has been like his entire adult life.
Yes.
He's been in jail as a murderer.
And he's innocent. It even says in the video, the CBS documentary, or a little short clip from it, that the actual murderer came forward and claimed that it was him and everything else, and now he's out, and you're like, holy shit, man.
Like, why even bother at this late stage in the game? You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Like, you got away with murder 30 years ago, and now
and come
and
forward.
someone else has been serving time for it. Here, like, unless you're there to just rub salt in his wound or something, like about the fact that you completely destroyed this man's entire life. Like, why?
He seemed pretty upbeat in that video.
See,
if you watch
mine
the
just
video,
said video unavailable. The uploader has not made this video
Yeah,
available in your country.
I agree. And so then I searched it out. I actually YouTubed it and a couple other things because I'm like, I gotta watch this. So I actually found it.
Bill
And
C11, right?
Yeah, I mean, if Twos maybe would have done his homework and watched the video, I mean, it's like, have I been rubbing off on you or what?
Phrasing.
Anyways, it was good.
I think it's great that he got out. Absolutely. And then the fact that, yeah, he spent like the whole time just talking to this wonderful old lady.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, happy news for the day. That's it for another week. It looks like Twos is going to be cheering for a little Seattle and Florida.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
Shaun will be doing a little cheering
Kansas.
for New Jersey and Edmonton Oilers. Either way, it's going to be a fun week next week at Mashup 53. Hey, we are into May, which means election night coverage is going to be coming up awfully darn quick. I talked to, last week we brought up Nick Von Dubs. I thought I better call him, so I called him. He's in for it. So we got Nick Von Dubs, Tarek Alnega. We got Chris
Marty
Sims.
up north.
Yeah,
Chris
Marty up
Sims.
north. Juna
Vance Crowe is going to be, we're going to be going live to Missouri to talk about the implications of the provincial election.
We're going to have, what we're trying to tell you all, folks, is we're going to have a lot of fun on, I assume.
It's going to be an all-star role.
Yeah.
And we're going to be covering all of the interesting things that happened during the election campaign, some of the lead up. Oh, shoot. I had another thing I wanted to talk about tonight. Maybe it'll come up next week.
What do you got? What do you got? What do you got?
Oh, no. So has anybody looked at the the NDP election signs?
I can't say I have.
Okay. So all of the incumbents are saying re-elect, blah, 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 blah. And it's different than last election because in 2019, even though they were going for re-election, they knew that they had fucked up so badly in terms of being the elected representatives that a bunch of them just had elect so-and-so on their lawn signs, even though they were going up for re-election. They didn't want to admit that they were the people in charge for the last 4 years, and they were hoping they could just sneak by on the fact. Yeah. And so now they're actually going for re-elect for the incumbents, but they think enough time's passed that people have forgotten how much they fucking sucked between 2015 and 2019. But in 2019, at least they were self-aware enough to realize that they had done such a poor job that they did not want to take ownership of the job they did. They just wanted to get the job again without actually pointing out how much they suck.
Well, it's going to do it for Mashup 53 because I really, at this point, I could play another clip of the Shithawks, but the NDP just.
Yeah,
anyway, what would you like to say? They're ridiculous.
Well, I mean, they're not a serious party, we could say maybe. But here's the thing: is that these are the kind of interesting things. Not this one specifically, probably. I don't know. Maybe we'll throw it out. But there's been so many interesting things about this election, about previous elections, about these people leading up to it that we're going to be talking about.
We're going to have
rather
some
than
fun.
Trying to fill the time by explaining to you for the 19th time how a goddamn map works.
Well,
And I get the fact that if you watch the CBC, that's big brain work. But we expect more of our listeners, and we're going to provide.
There's a lot our listeners probably need to know about that map. Blue means something, orange means something else. I'm going to have a healthy debate
obviously,
on this.
the blue part's land.
All right. Well, either way, I'm excited about it. I was actually talking to Dustin about it this morning. I'm like, I think the itch is starting. It's May.
Yeah.
And, we got to get things ironed out here over the next couple weeks. So as we do that, more and more things are going to come out, and people are going to hear more and more about it. But election night coverage coming, Tuesday Mashup, a version of it, and we hope you will tune in with us as we do that. It should be a fun night.
The writ's got to drop, actually, if it hasn't officially dropped. Have they officially made 29th the election day?
No, that's what I was looking for before we started the show, and I hadn't seen it yet. And I thought they had to announce today, but they don't.
All right. Well, I don't know. They're a bunch of slackers in government, no matter who gets in. But we'll have it, and we'll be ready for you. And that's it, folks.
11. Oh, it says Alberta election is called Calgary set as a key battleground 6 hours ago. Calgary Herald.
Sorry, the election was 6 hours ago?
No, is set.
Okay. Is it set for a date?
House hours after dropping the
for a
writ
date.
for
I just
May
wanna know
29th provincial election. May 29th.
There we go.
There
okay,
we go.
So May 29th, tune in. It's a
May
Monday
29th.
night.
Fire
So
it
if
up.
you've got a pub.
Oilers are
and-
still going to be playing in the playoffs. I'm going to be rattling him all about it all night long. And on top of that, we're going to talk about some provincial election. I mean, it's going to be electric. You're not going to miss it. Tooz is probably going to be scratching his head most of the night. And Shaun's going to be having a little bit of fun interviewing different people.
There's going to be so many Oilers tears just flying around everywhere that you're going to have Kraken just swimming in on them.
We might have
be
to
like the
have a
ocean.
little, if Seattle's made it that far, we might have to buy a bottle of Kraken to,
Kraken rum.
That's right.
It's tasty stuff.
It is.
And they're not paying me to say that.
No, they're not paying me to say that either way. Either way, that's Mashup 53. I could rant on about different things. Either way, we'll catch up to you next week, folks.
All right. See ya.